this is actually the first weapon overview that we've had of a weapon that I've actually played. Like, I've played all the weapons, but I mean like grinded from multiple pieces of armor, made multiple builds, made like a ton of different versions of the weapon. I have a sword and shield in world that has every single element and status effect on it. Like, I spent actual time playing sword and shield because, again, I'm a bow addict. That's what I do. I'm addicted to the bow. So I'm really happy that we're gonna see something that I've actually had a lot of hours in. It's my fault. I stick to the same thing all the time. Sword and shield. Ooh, I'm not gonna pause it just yet. But Rathalos armor ain't never looked so good. I think it looks really good. A weapon that boasts maneuverability and rapid attacks. You can use the shield to both guard and to attack. Chatacabra got a hit in! Let's go! You can use some items while your weapon is drawn. Use focus mode to target a monster's wounds and weak points. They're teasing us with sword and shield, man. We need longer for sword and shield. I swear to God. We need longer for sword and shield. We need longer. Because everyone's like, sword and shield is a great beginner weapon. And I think people say that because you have the ability to, like, it's fast, right? You're not locked into animations a lot. You can use items when you have the weapon out, even though it's like just as fast to put the weapon away and drink something. But it's actually quite a technical weapon. And we saw that with Perfect Rush. SNS is a great beginner weapon, but after maining it in Rise, it's got an incredibly high skill ceiling. Yeah, it really has. It's quite a technical weapon, especially with Perfect Rush, because the way that Perfect Rush works, if you've never played Sword and Shield, is you have to time the inputs at the right time in order to make Perfect Rush happen. So, yeah, there's so much variety to the playstyle of Sword and Shield, right? Because you can use your sword, you can use your shield. You can choose to go into a Perfect Rush. You can choose to go into a Shokugeki no Soma. That's Food Wars. Shoryugeki. Shokugeki no Soma. I love that move. That's my favorite Sword and Shield move. I'm talking about Metsu Shoryugeki. Yes. That move, I freaking love that move. So that move, you get to see it a little bit in here, but it's a bit different. But what you were able to do is when you were going into Perfect Rush, so you do you did a dodge backwards, and then you could go into a Perfect Rush by jumping forward and hitting the monster. Or you could jump backwards and then jump into go into a hit for the Shoryugeki. And that would take you into the air. And then when you're in the air, you could choose if you wanted to smash down with the shield or smash down with the sword. So a really cool thing that I really enjoyed about Sword and Shield is, one, the mobility. Two, it's actually got a very deceiving amount of aerial attacks. And three, you had the ability to do KO damage and also to do, of course, your damage with your sword. So we got to pause on the armor and the weapon, obviously. I think it looks great. I generally have not really loved wearing Rathalos armor because it's very bulky, but I kind of like the way that this looks. And the sword, oh my God, the sword looks really, really good. It looks really, really, really good. Look at that. Woo. So that's the beginning. That's the beginning of the Perfect Rush, I'm pretty sure. Looks like it to me anyway. So here is really interesting because of how much the hunter is moving. Like, just watch how much the hunter is moving. Boom, boom, boom. Like, you're moving a lot. That's your classic sword shield combo to get the KO. This, oh my God. In World, you could only do this move if you were running down a hill. In Rise or Sunbreak, I don't know which one brought it because I always forget. I think of them as the same thing. You were able to use it with a Silk Strike attack, a Silk Bind attack. But now you can just do it, which is fantastic. Sword and Shield doesn't look as flashy as the rest. Sword and Shield, I think, it's one of those weapons that I don't think a lot of people do justice to when they show it, unless you're watching like a Sword and Shield main. Because the variety of attacks that you can do and the complexity of what you can choose in the moment-to-moment combat is actually pretty crazy. And it has some very flashy moves. I still think it looks pretty flashy. I have seen a lot of people saying that it looks slower than usual. However, I will say that I think a lot of it is for trailer purposes, because if you just sit there and smash the button, you will go faster, but you can yourself right now go into World, go into Rise, and make the attacks look slower if you wanted to. Because if they were just spamming the button, I don't know if it would show off the weapon very well, but maybe it is slower. I don't know. I don't really mind it looking slower. I think it still looks like incredibly fluid and mobile, which is kind of my main thing with Sword and Shield. Can I hold on? I know we've watched the same thing like 17 times. I just need to turn up the audio because the audio on this weapon sounds really good. Like really, really good. I'll watch the audio so I don't deafen you. Sounds so good. Also, we have confirmation of what an elemental weapon looks like. Because you know when we've been looking at like the other weapons that we don't know what monsters they come from, we're like, is that a lightning attack? Is that water? I don't know. But we can actually see what an elemental attack looks like in Wilds now because we know that Rathalos is a fire weapon. So if we slow it down, you can see the fire particles. Look at them, look at them little flames. Look at them little flames. Here's your classic bam, bam, and then a boom. And then you get to slide. I kind of want to watch the whole thing in slow motion because it's only 47 seconds long. And they're not giving us a lot of frames to look at some of these attacks. They're not giving us a lot. Yeah, there's so many just like small movements that you can do. Moving to the side, sidestepping. I love that they've incorporated the dash here. Ooh, that little sword swing dash. And I'm glad that you can just do it. Because I think that makes it really fun. And this is actually really interesting because they show you a guard and they show you a perfect guard. Perfect guard is all over this game. They've turned this game into Sekiro. It's Sekiro the Monster Hunter. But here you get to see a look at just like not perfect guarding an attack. Right? It's not a perfect guard. That ain't a perfect guard. And then, of course, the hunter has to get hit because they need to show you drinking while having your weapon out. So this is what they're doing with the Shoryugeki, or as we like to call it, Shokugeki no Soma, which makes no sense, especially if you understand what that means. But that's what I'm going with. Also, people also call it the Shoryuken, but it's the Shoryugeki. So normally what this was is you could like clutch claw and do some of this. They've just kind of mixed a couple things together. So this is, you're going into focus mode, you're hitting with the sword, and then if you get a hit, I assume, you get to go into the air. So you are hitting with the shield on the way up, literally doing a shoryuken. Now here, you could choose to come slashing down on the monster with the sword or with the shield. So I do wonder if you're going to have that option in Wilds, if it's just like a different button input. Man, they're showing so many snippets of like almost showing us all of Perfect Rush, but not showing us all of it. So many just little snippets. I would assume you'd have the choice. Oh, also look at this. Look at this detail. Watch the ground when the hunter hits down with the shield. Because you'll see like this big AoE ripple effect. So cool. I think Sword and Shield looks really good. But I have enjoyed Sword and Shield before, so. Now this is very interesting. Because if there are people on the internet somewhere who are doubting if perfect guard is a thing in Wilds, I don't know how they are at this point. We've seen like every weapon that can guard have some kind of perfect guard, but they are telling you Mother Fudger's perfect guard is here. Because we have this guard, and then where was it? It was right before he got hit. So I think it's probably like here. So here you see a regular guard, right? Look at this. Look at this. And notice how much it's pushing the hunter back. And that's something with sword and shield is you generally wouldn't use the shield to block unless you made a full build around it, but then you were making your DPS go down a little bit. So this is showing that this is what it looks like. And I think the move is pretty much the same. Excuse me, the same. Got hiccups. It's a tongue attack, right? And look, it's not, he's already guarding. Didn't time it right. Oh my God, you hit me. God damn. And then it's here. Yeah. And then look at this perfect guard. It's the same attack, I'm pretty sure. It's just going from, instead of going from this side to this side, it's going this side to this side. But you get to see that the hunter puts up the shield right at the last second of the hit. And you get this big flash of white on the screen. There is also an audio prompt, which I will show you guys. It literally sounds like a flash camera going off, like one of those old timey-wimey cameras. Mm-hmm. There's a perfect guard. There it is. Looks great. And it doesn't knock back the hunter either. Like, you don't have any knockback at all. Whereas in the other one, where you didn't get a perfect guard, you got knocked back pretty hard. So this makes me excited for the potential of using the shield to guard more without having to build into it. I guess it's possible that maybe they changed their decorations between these two things, but I don't think so. I mean, if decorations are in the game. Yeah, I would be surprised if they changed a bunch of stuff to build into like perfect guarding to show you it can perfect guard, because I feel like the reason that they're showing you these two things is because they're like, hey, if you manage to get a perfect guard off, you don't get knocked back, you know, like, oh God. And then slash. So yeah, I'm really hoping that you just as like a base sword and shield user can choose to perfect guard if you want to. And this move, oh my God, this move. Oh my God. It looks so good. Just the animation work on it alone is crazy. Twirling the sword around, holding it like a dagger, coming up, slashing, and doing multiple hits through the monster. So you'll be able to hear the multiple hits as well. So let me do that. Oh my God. Normally, they haven't shown characters in this kind of camera angle unless they're doing like a counter or a clash attack. What's going on there, Capcom? Huh? What's that about? What's that about? Could just be the camera angle, but generally they haven't shown that kind of angle. So good. Oh my Lord. Oh my God, it looks so good. So I am definitely like, I'm in between wanting to do bow and sword and shield as my secondary, or maybe bow and gunlets. So yeah, I don't know. I love sword and shield. So I definitely will be playing the Monster Hunter Wild sword and shield. And I'm just so curious to see how guarding works. Because I think that's pretty big. If you are really good at getting perfect guards, sword and shield is going to be pretty good for guarding. If you're not, you're going to get your guard broken all the time. Yeah, it looks really good. A weapon that boasts maneuverability and rapid attacks. You can use the shield both to guard and to attack. You can even use some items while your weapon is drawn, able to guard. Dang. I will definitely be trying sword and shield for wilds. Obviously, I'm going to use bow. Bow will be my main, but I definitely want to do some sword and shielding for sure. Abso-freaking-lutely.